How's it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here to give you your daily stimulus check and unemployment benefits updates and the latest information. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube, which is what I try to provide here on this channel.
President Biden has intensified his name-calling of Vladimir Putin. This week, he called Putin a war criminal and vowed to make him a social pariah or outcast that no other country will want to associate with. I think Biden might make Putin a pariah among NATO nations, but so far, the Middle East, India, and China, to name a few big nations, are all lining up to do business with Russia, even though they're at war with Ukraine. Now, today, President Biden warned all major U.S. companies and government agencies that intel shows Putin and Russia are gearing up to conduct major cyber attacks on the United States and other NATO nations they feel have been working against them. There was also talk of chemical warfare. I'm hoping that all of this is just rumor and doesn't happen, but this is what the President of the United States has announced today. And Russia is famous worldwide for being good at hacking computer systems. Many intelligence officers say that Biden has a strong hand, but he's playing it ineffectively. He attempted to show Putin the cost of war would be greater than the outcome of the war, but so far, Vladimir Putin seems completely undeterred by the sanctions from the United States and almost all of Europe. One intelligence officer said, Putin has 5 very powerful hands that he can still play. He has cyber warfare, space warfare, military warfare, nuclear capabilities, and espionage to extract government secrets. They said these intel people that I follow are saying that this war might just be beginning, while the media would have you believe it's probably coming to an end. Now, President Biden is heading to meet face-to-face with other NATO partners to brainstorm, so hopefully they can come up with some good strategies. Just yesterday, Biden said there's a new world order, and the United States needs to be at the head of that. So make what you will of that, but those were his own words. Now, this morning, the Pentagon announced it had a lot of captured Soviet air defense weapons and that it would be sending those to Ukraine. So they're basically going to supply Ukraine with Russian military weapons to fight Russian military soldiers. Now, the U.S. has reiterated that they are willing to back Ukraine with money and weaponry, but they do not want to get involved in a war with Russia. Even former President Donald Trump said in an interview yesterday that this isn't the same Putin he dealt with when he was in office, and that Putin is acting and looking very different. And he warned against letting this drag out for much longer. The White House announced today that Press Secretary Jen Psaki, who is triple vaccinated, has tested positive for COVID a second time and will not be accompanying President Biden over to Europe. Now, according to several Democrat leaders, there are backroom conversations happening with Senator Joe Manchin as Democrats fight to pass some version of the Build Back Better bill before the midterm elections. Earlier today, the HELP Committee, which stands for Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, met to discuss how to pass financial assistance as part of a reduction in daycare costs for the average family, as well as weighing the pros and cons of having taxpayers fund free pre-kindergarten. So all of these debates that should have happened before the bill passed, now that the bill didn't pass, they're finally having these conversations to decide, hey, listen, which of these programs actually make sense? Which ones help the most people? Which ones should the taxpayers actually pay for? Now, the Senate Finance Committee also announced that they held meetings about how to effectively lower the price of prescription drug costs here in the United States. And part of that is going to be the United States government stepping up and actually negotiating with drug makers like every other nation on the planet does. The United States is the only country that doesn't do this. We also have some of the highest healthcare costs on the entire planet. So they're discussing that as well. Democrats are calling for a full committee hearing to go over Pelosi's House version of the Build Back Better bill to see what is needed, what is wanted, and what is an absolute must. Then they'll decide, how do we pay for this without adding to the national debt? Again, these are all committee meetings that should have happened by now, and I'm shocked, absolutely shocked that they tried to pass a bill without having these committee meetings. So I'm really glad to see that those meetings are now happening, and I'm hoping to have more and more to report to you as far as what are they going to do for the American people. Now, Democrat leaders say they worry they will never get Joe Manchin on board because he refuses to say everyone should get an electric car and says the U.S. should focus on producing more oil, more gas, and more coal, and more energy right here at home. So for this reason, they feel Joe Manchin isn't behaving like a true Democrat and that he won't vote their way. So because he won't say that everyone should have an electric car and he's pro energy independence, they're now saying he's not acting like a Democrat. I don't know why they're saying that, but that was in the news today. Although I don't know the full truth because a few days ago, Senator Manchin announced in his home state of West Virginia that they were adding a huge battery factory. He also announced that he wants to see coal workers in the area retrained and moved over to building batteries and other sustainable energy products while we strategically transition away from fossil fuels. So on the one hand, they're saying he doesn't promote anything. On the other, he's trying to retrain people in his state. He's also trying to open battery factories and other clean energy sources. So I don't know that the media is giving us the full story here. Also, Senator Joe Manchin said big oil and gas, that they need to apply pressure to members of Congress that they financially supported during their campaigns and get them to open up more oil and gas production here in the United States. He said it's now time to call in your favors and get them to start producing more oil and gas. Senator Bernie Sanders said that as soon as things calm down, he plans to reintroduce Medicare for all. He wants to help Americans lower their insurance costs and medical expenses and give the federal government bargaining power when it comes to big pharma. Also, Sanders is quietly telling people he won't support Joe Biden in 2024. He's actually encouraging Representative Ro Khanna of California to run against Biden, to run against the sitting president. He sees Khanna as being a more socialist Democrat like himself. Bernie Sanders is now 80 years old and needs to find someone he feels confident he could pass the torch to that would carry on his personal fight going forward. A new report shows that the U.S. government spent $316 million of taxpayer money on illegal immigrants' health care at the border. The White House put out a warning yesterday that there could be a global food shortage coming to the world and even the United States. Press Secretary Jen Psaki said to expect higher fertilizer prices, wheat prices, and corn prices. Psaki then said the food crisis will be mitigated here at home the best they can, but will hit Africa and Asian nations the hardest. Sheesh, now we're going to be dealing with a food crisis? What the heck's going on, man? I'm sick of this living in the Twilight Zone stuff. What about you guys? Wow. All right, Tesla announced a huge price hike on their batteries and their cars, proving that going green is going to require more of your green than I believe the White House expected. They've had multiple price increases since the Russia-Ukraine situation started, but just yesterday they announced that the price of their battery pack for your home is going way up. Now, speaking of money, Goldman Sachs announced that if Saudi Arabia switches off the US dollar, the petrodollar, in exchange for the Chinese yuan dollar, it could be very bad for the United States. Much of our dominance has come from being the world reserve currency, but these last few years and months have put too much pressure on the US dollar, and China seems all too happy to step in everywhere we're showing weakness. So everywhere we're pulling out, they're stepping in with money. Everywhere we stop buying from, they show up with money and start buying. So there is a big shift. There's a big power play happening with the world superpowers right now. And I just hope that the United States will continue to be one of those.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube. Have a good one.